Hey, everybody. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a very special interview that I am doing with a very special person. This is Sara Im, and she is going to be sharing about her survival through the Cambodian killing fields, which happened during the time of Pol Pot back in the 70s and 80s, I believe it was. So Sarah's going to be sharing her story. She's going to be sharing about the dangers of communism as well, and also her faith journey through all of it. So it's a very special interview. Stay tuned. So everybody, this is Sara Im, and I recorded her 2 years ago and never did anything with her story, and I felt that was a shame. I wanted to share her story to everybody listening in, so I asked her to come back on, and she graciously accepted. And so now Sara is going to share a little bit about her story of surviving the killing fields of Cambodia. So Sara, the first question I'd like to ask you is, how did all of that start? What was the first thing that you remember being a child in Cambodia, and then how did Pol Pot get into power, if you don't mind starting there?
Oh, okay. Growing up in Cambodia, I remember it was peaceful as I was a young girl in the countryside. My parents are farmers, so we live in the countryside. But my parents believe in higher education. So as soon as I finished high school, I went off to college. The college is in the capital city of Cambodia. It's called Phnom Penh, which is far away from home. And while I was in college in 1975, the communist regime took over our country. They took over in the military takeover. And there was a military truck and tank and soldiers, very scary. And they immediately shut down the whole country. I mean, it's a complete shutdown. That there's nothing open. No grocery store, no restaurant, no bus line, no airplane. So as the result of the shutdown, I was stuck. I can't go home.
And you were at college at this point. So
Yes.
how long were you at college before all of this happened?
It's about a year.
Okay.
About a year. Yeah.
So what led to this regime taking over? What do you think led to that?
I believe it's some kind of corruption from the previous government. And also there's some inequality, like there's some rich people and there's extremely poor people. And that's the place where the communist regime want to come in, because they have a system. They said everybody will be equal. They want to get rid of the rich. They want to have the poor. So the concept was brought to the young people. So they kidnapped some young people. They took them away and they brainwashed them to teach them the new concept of communism. So those young people believe in this system.
So Cambodia was not, when you were growing up, it was not communist.
No.
Okay.
No, it was a capitalist. It was the free country. But when the communists took over, the young people that they brainwashed become very violent. They are mad. They are mad at everybody. They are mad at their own parents. So that's how the violence happened. And when they shut down the whole country, they took over the whole country. And 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 they evacuate us. They don't want anybody to live in the capital city. Even in the regular city, in a different province, they don't want anybody live in the city. They want everybody to work in the farm, in the rice farm. And that's what I end up doing. I was trapped in the forced labor camp.
So, what happened for you to get to the forced labor camp? How did they get you there from the city?
They evacuate us from the city, and I end up in the countryside. I stay briefly with the family there. The family that they already primed, they already in the communist system. But they also took me from there to other places. They want to fill up to spread out people, not to stay at one place. So the place that I end up was the camp that was designed for single man and woman. And I fit into that category, and I was there. And as soon as I arrived, I was shocked, completely shocked. They sent us to work in the rice field every day in the intense hot sun, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and 16, 15 hours a day. And there's no time to rest. Very little time to sleep. Very little time to sleep. And we live in a very little food.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember you talking about, sorry to interrupt, you almost had an opportunity to get out of the city last time you shared your story with me. Can you talk about that a little bit and how you ended up in the rice fields instead of getting out of the city and taking your opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I have an uncle who flew the military helicopter in the previous government. And he offered me to take me to my family in the province. But I have a close friend from college, and she come to me crying. She need my help to fly over, to go over to her parents. And I feel so sorry for her. And I let her take that seat, the only one seat left. And I was hoping that my uncle would come back to pick me up. So my uncle, I'm sure that he brought her to her family, and then he went to pick his whole family. And he came back to look for me, and I wasn't there. It was too late. So I missed the flight to get out of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard from that friend ever again?
No, we were separated forever.
Mm-hmm. And have you heard from your uncle?
Yeah, he lives in California right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he was able to get out safely with his family as well.
Yeah.
Good.
He didn't have to go through like I did.
Yeah. So why don't you go into that a little bit more of what you had to go through with this new regime?
Yeah, they put us in a work camp. Very long hour, like I said, very little food, and no time to rest. And we sleep on the average about 4 hours a night. And with that condition, most of us become sick. And because of our weak immunity, when somebody got sick, we pass on the disease to other people. So the disease spread on all over the camp very quickly. and I got so many disease in my little body, and I lose so much weight. I become like skin and bone very quickly. And when I got too sick to work, they don't want me to stay with the working people. They sent me to they said you need to go to the hospital, but the hospital is more like a hospice, more like an infirmary. There's nothing to help us. And I realized that I am in a bad situation, very bad place. And in my mind, I want to survive. I want to go back home to be with the family. And my mom just recovered from 4 years of paralysis from her accident, which when she was paralyzed, I was a caregiver before I went to college. So my relationship with my mom was so close. That's how we built such a strong bond. I love my mom so dearly. And when I was separate like this, all I thought about was just how can I go back to my mom to help out? She need my help. So that's what I'm fighting for. I fight to survive so I can be helpful to my family.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had 3 younger brothers.
And do you mind, what year was this when all this took place?
1975.
So you're in a bad state of health, and now they're sending you to hospice, basically. So what happened at that point?
At that point, because I want to survive, I try to think about ways to survive. I can run away from the whole camp, but I don't know where to go. I will get caught and they will shoot me. I can go back to the workplace, but I can't work. I was too sick. So I don't know what to do. I start to pray. And ask God. At that time, I believe that there is God. So I ask God to help me. So I pray every night for a while. And one morning, I got up very early in the morning. I sneak out. I realized nobody pay attention because it's very, very early. It's still dark. And I feel like I have a little bit extra energy today. So I went, I slipped out from that infirmary and I went back to the work camp. And then one young team leader that used to know me, and she saw me come in and she feels so sympathy for me because I was just so frail. I was dying and she tried to help me. She ended up talking to the people in the kitchen and asked them to see if they can use my help in the kitchen. And thank goodness, I think my prayer worked. The people in the kitchen put me in to help give me a job so I can help them cut up, do the prep work for to cook meals for the whole camp. The whole camp was 1,000 people, men and women. So when I work in the kitchen, I get so much advantage over working in the rice field because I work in the shade, I work less hour, and I have access to food. So gradually, I feel better, and my disease seemed to shut off, and I become healthy again. Now, not 100%, but I gain my weight and have more energy. But when the working people in the rice field saw me like that, they took me out from the kitchen because they feel like I need to work in the rice field. They took me out and throw me back in the rice field again, and I start working very hard like everybody else again. But with that time in the kitchen, give me a boost give me like an energy, a strength, so I can face the hard labor again. So I worked for 4 hours in the rice. I'm not 4 years in the rice field.
Wow.
Mhm.
So, how long, if you could give us a timeline, so how long were you in the rice fields before you got sick? And then how long were you in the kitchen? And then how long were you in the rice fields after that?
I think only a few months, 2 or 3 months before I got sick, but I still go to work while I was sick until one day I just can't go anymore. I got too sick. So it's probably about 3, 4 months. And then I went to the hospice and working in the kitchen probably 5, 6 months.
That's amazing. So, what kind of foods were you able to eat that you think helps you through that sickness?
Well, they don't have a lot of food. It's self-sufficiency camp. It's like there is no market to buy anything from outside. So they just make use of very little thing. The watercress pick up from the water, some leaves from the trees, and the fish from the river. But it's all natural, and it's more than the regular working people because I work in the kitchen, so I have a little bit extra. So it's enough to fill me up. It's enough to give me more nutrition to recover. And then the sleep, I had enough sleep instead of woke up at the hour like 4 a.m. in the morning. I sleep a little later, like 6 a.m. So I get more sleep, get more rest with with extra food. So it's a combination of a few things.
Mm-hmm. So, how did your faith grow during this time?
I still believe that there's God up there, um, watching over, and I'm still praying without letting them know because they are now religious. They are against any religion. Um, I will be very careful about praying. So I just wait until nighttime, nobody see, and I kneel down and pray and ask for survival. All I pray for is ask for survival so I can go to my family.
So, you were in the rice fields again for about another 3 years, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you just were praying, trying to get through that time, hoping for something to change. So, what ended up happening after that?
After that, they start to move the camp. They move the camp toward the jungle. There was something coming up. They know of something. So they start to ask us to pack up and move, keep moving into the jungle. I remember the jungle because every time we make a stop, we had to clear out the wood, make a place to sleep, to make the kitchen, to cook all the meals for many of us. So that's why I remember, especially it's the jungle. That's why we need to clear the wood, and every a couple of weeks we keep moving on. After we clear, we rest a little bit, and we move on to the next stop. So we go deeper into the jungle, and I start to realize that they are moving away from the national road. And I was hoping that the national road can help me to find my way home. But when they moved us far away from the national road, I was so disappointed. And eventually I thought about running away, about escaping. But by that time, my body was so frail again already. I was depleting, was sick again, and I have no energy to go anywhere by myself. So I asked three of my good friends, I asked them if they can go escape with me. And all three of them say yes. They yes. So I got support and we made a plan to escape. It's a very dangerous escape. That was the time that a lot of people get killed because the communist group, they think that we are the traitor because we escape, we get out from them. So as soon as they see anybody try to run away, they will shoot, 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 shoot. There are a lot of people was killed, but we were careful. We waited until nighttime, and as you can tell, in the jungle, the nighttime is dark black, so they cannot see us run away. But we don't know where to go either because when it's black, we have no way to know what to go, where to go. But I think I trust that God was helping us and we were able to sneak out without disturbing the guard. So the guard didn't see us. We keep we keep walking the whole night long to get out from their group from the jungle. And when the sun shine again the next morning, we turned back and we didn't see them. We didn't see all the guards and everything. So we realized that we were survived just by the grace of God. By the grace of God, we are alive.
Yeah. And so are you in the middle of the jungle at that point? How did you find your way back to somebody who could help, or where did you find yourselves?
We were out of the deep jungle. We are still in the wilderness, but not as deep jungle as we used to. So we keep walking, follow the trail that, we saw some paths that people are walking. And eventually we saw some people and we asked for direction to go to my hometown. And I was so amazed that people look so freely. They don't seem to worry about anything. I didn't know what's going on. But all I care about is to ask for direction to go to my hometown. And we walk a long, long, long walk. And finally, well, I got so sick. But with my friends supporting, I keep moving on. And I finally got to the city where my parents live. And I was able to track down to find them. That's how I got back home. It's not the original home that we used to live. That home was destroyed already, but I was able to find out where my family could have been, and I found them. And my mom saw me. She heard my voice when I speak. I said, Mom. So when I spoke, she recognized my voice. She told me later that she didn't recognize me because I was just a skin and bone. And it's so funny. She said she only recognized my forehead.
Wow. Yeah. So when you were getting really sick like that, what kind of sicknesses were these? Were these like respiratory? Were they in your stomach? Were they, breathing? Like what kind of sicknesses were you feeling besides like just, the overall sickness of being so skinny?
Yeah. Um, I remember it. My body was puffed up, was swelling all over the body. When the swelling went down, I was completely depleted, exhausted. And so many people died during the depletion, and I didn't die. Uh, some of my good friends told me not to take a nap during this time that I pop up and deplete, pop up and emaciate. It's a very dangerous time. So I try as hard as I can now to take a nap during the day. So that's how I survive. So the puffiness, I don't know what caused it. The swelling, it's not just me. There's many other people that experience the same condition. We believe it's the lack of nutrition that can cause it. And also, I have night blindness. At nighttime, when the sun sets, I cannot see anything, even though you put me next to the lamp that people can see, they can read something. If they stand next to the lamp, I can't because of the condition of the night blindness. You are blind because you lack of nutrition that caused the night blindness.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask before you share more of your story was, what was happening with the rest of Cambodia during this time? Specifically before you escaped, like what was happening to everybody else? Was everybody going to work camps? Was only certain people that happening to? What would you say the overall state of Cambodia was under Pol Pot?
Yeah, the overall state, it depends on the region, depends on the province. Some groups, they have a different different ration for their food, and some group is even lack of nutrition. I talked to some of my aunt that survived. She said there's some point that they don't even get food. They don't even have food to eat. And for days, and then finally they get a little bit. It's just like a porridge, like a watery rice. And some place they do a little better than my camp. So it's all depend on where they are. And some place it's more violent. They're more killing. And my camp, I did not see any killing, but we lose some people. I don't know what happened to them. They might kill them quietly. The killing is depend on the background of the person. If they know that I am a college student, I probably did not survive. They want to get rid of anybody has some kind of education or have any connection with the previous government or a wealthy people, wealthy merchant. They don't like those type of people. So people that deal with the government and the previous government, that was killed way at the beginning. There's a lot of them.
Because that's the nature of communism, right? Is to make sure everybody is equal. And so they don't like anybody that has an education or anything else like that.
Yeah, and they don't want the revenge. They don't want the educated people. They might get together and they might plan something to fight against them. So they don't just eliminate one person, the whole family. They eliminate the whole family. If the father is the governor of one province, they eliminate the whole family. It's just so brutal.
Why do you think that communism and violence go hand in hand?
Hmm. I think because the hatred, the brainwashing that they teach the people during the training, they just train them to hate the people that are doing well originally in the previous government.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The hatred that caused the violence. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how many people died during this time for all of Cambodia? Do you know that number?
They estimated somewhere around 2 million.
Wow.
2 million. This is a small country that had only 7 million at that time, and 2 million were gone.
Wow. And your family, thankfully, it sounds like, was spared from a lot of that violence, other than you, of course.
My family almost got wiped out in one gunshot. In 1979, we got liberated. The Vietnamese group came in to try to chase out the Khmer Rouge, the communist Khmer Rouge. And my family were gathered together and tried to escape from the Khmer Rouge. And during the escape, the Khmer Rouge guard saw them, and they almost pulled the trigger. And then my mom saw them, and she sit down and she opened her blouse. She said, "Look," my mom was so skinny because she had been sick for a long time. They can see her rib cage. So she said, look, I am so tired. I just need to sit down. So that's her excuse. But actually they were trying to run away. And when they saw my mom so skinny like that, they put down their gun, and they kind of tell my family to just take a quick rest and don't stay too long. And they walk on to the next people. So almost got wiped out in one gun.
So, it sounds like your mom was a wise person
My mom was
to
so
think of that.
quick. Yeah, so quick. My brother, that is younger, next to me, he was about get ready to run when the guard saw and almost pulled the trigger. He was about to run, but my mom said, "Stop! Don't run!" Because if my mom didn't stop my brother, he probably got shot right there. I lost a lot of uncle. Male people a lot of male people did not survive because of the lack of nutrition, because of the hard work, and they cannot make it.
I mean, that makes sense. They need more sustenance probably as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Vietnam came and liberated Cambodia in 79. And so was that one of the reasons why when you escaped, the person you met with was seeming so like free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out when I got home, when I found my family, I found out they had been liberated 4 months ago. I have no idea. I was still in captivity. Yeah.
And that's why they were moving you around.
Yeah, they tried to run away from the Vietnamese.
Okay. And so how long until everybody was liberated, do you think? Like, because certainly it wasn't just your camp that was trying to flee. I'm sure there was others as well.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I'm sure there are many of them, but I have no idea.
So what happened after Vietnam came and liberated everybody? Were things a little bit more stable in Cambodia at that point?
A little bit, and stop the killing, stop the torture, stop the forced labor, and people try to go back to their hometown. and many of them lost everything. Their hometown was burned. They lost their family, and it just a mess, a big mess. And the Vietnamese was abusive to the population as well. I have a classmate from high school got raped by the soldier, but because our country was completely destroyed, there is no law, there is no rule, there is no government who can help us individually. We were helpless. But the only one good thing that happened, that was happening during that time, is that the communist Khmer Rouge stopped killing us. They no longer have the power to mistreat us, to kill us, to torture us anymore. But the chaotic situation is all over the country. The women that have a few children and they lost their husband, they are miserable. The pain and suffering is just undescribable all over the country. Yeah.
So, how did you make your way to America?
Well, my mom had a cousin who, at that time, he was part-time as a reporter for a newspaper somehow, some way, and he had access to the border, and I don't know where he reported to, but he was on his way to the border, to the Thai border, and my mom found out about that, and she made arrangement to have me go with him to cross the border, because my mom realized that it's very dangerous, especially I was in my mid-20s, and I can be the next victim. So my mom just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to me. So she convinced me to go to the border and to go find my only relative in the United States. So she should just go and do the search and look for your uncle, and he will help you. I was crying, my eye was swollen. I didn't want to leave because for 4 years I was dreaming about come together, live together with my family, and now I have to go again. But my mom is very smart, and she have a better vision than me. She convinced me to go. I'm the only person that is available to go. My younger brother next to me, he just got married and his wife got pregnant, and the father-in-law was sick, and all the excuses that nobody else can come with me. I was the only child that can go. And my mom told me, honey, for the sake of the family, if you make it to America, you might be able to come back and help us, save us. So that's the only reason I left. Otherwise, I wouldn't go. So I left for the sake of the family. And I was able to cross the border. That's another danger. Cross the border, and when I got to Thailand, the Thai people, they watch their border very closely. They don't want any Cambodian to come cross their border because they don't want any war to come in their country. But because of the United Nations and the American Red Cross set the tent, the shelter to receive the refugee at the border, that's how I found a refugee camp, and I was able to find my relative in the United States, and he was able to sponsor me.
Wow. So now that you're in America, you were able to save your family at that point. They were able to come over?
now drive away.
Yeah.
About 2, 3 years later, the Vietnamese robbed my mom. My mom had a little stand to sell some groceries to make a living. Because at that time, everybody had to make our own living. There's no place to go to work and earn a salary or anything like that. So she did very well. I started with her before I left, and that little grocery stand was doing well. So one night, my mom got robbed. They took all her gold and her merchandise and everything. So she was so mad enough that she said, I'm going. I'm going to the border. I'm going to find my daughter. So she took all my brothers with her. And she barely can walk, but with her determination, she was able to cross the border, pay somebody to take her across the border. And then she went to the wrong camp and wait for a while. There's nothing going on and nobody there. And she was able to sneak out from that camp, go to the next camp. And by the time she got to the right camp, that camp was closed. To they don't register any more new refugees. So there you go. My family got out from Cambodia, got in the camp, but the camp was no longer registered people. They got stuck. I was able to do the paperwork at the beginning when my mom arrived in Thailand. She called me, she go to find the telephone because at that time nobody had a cell phone. There was the phone booth and she was able to make the call to let me know that she is in Thailand. And I start to do the paperwork to sponsor her. And I wait and wait and wait and wait for years, and nothing happened. And then I found out they, I had to take a trip with the help of the government, the senator in Connecticut. We went to Thailand to find out, to see if there's something we can do to speed up the family reunification process. And we found out that my family are not registered. There's no way that they can process any paperwork. It's not legal. So they recommend that I have to become a U.S. citizen. That means I need to wait until the time it's up, then apply for it, get the interview, and it takes time. In the meantime, my family was living in danger in the camp. Danger that the Thai guards, they went through the camp and when they saw people that are illegal, they beat them up. They put them in jail and they mistreat them bad way. But my family was able to hide from them through the help of friends in the camp. So they survived. They survived the punish, the mistreatment. And by the time I found out that I need to become a U.S. citizen, it takes more years. So finally, I was able to become a U.S. citizen and reprocess the paperwork again. So they was able to come to the United States in 1988, and I arrived in 81. So the gap between the two groups, it was 7 years. 7 years.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. But you finally got to see your mom again and your brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where did you all live at that point?
Connecticut.
Oh, wow. Nice state.
We came from the tropical country and end up in Connecticut. Even though it's cold, but the people are warm.
Yeah.
Warm with love. So I cannot complain. I can take the cold weather with warm people anytime.
I can understand that. Um, yeah, I bet that was different for your family, seeing the snow and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask, now that you've been in America for quite a while, are you sad with the state of America currently?
I have concern, but not sad. I don't know. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm just so concerned that if people are not educated about the danger of communism, it can be very big danger. It can be dangerous. Just like Venezuela, just like Cuba, you know, when people become communist, when the country become communist, there's no progress. The people are not motivated because everything belongs to the state. You don't own anything. You don't have anything. You don't have much freedom. So the people need to understand that. And people need to learn from the history of the people that gone through that. What happened? That's why, yeah, that's why I keep telling the story, my story, because I, I'm telling the truth that I come out from that, and I don't want to see United States go through the same way that I went through.
One of the things that you said at the beginning of your story that stood out to me was the youth were very angry and
Yes.
becoming violent. And unfortunately, I think that's what we are starting to see here in America is a lot of violence specifically from the youth.
Yeah.
They don't like their parents. They don't like the current government. They don't like anything. And
Yeah.
they're becoming unthankful and unhappy and just in general. And so when you said that, I was like, wow, that sounds a little bit like the start of America. And so
Yeah.
that kind of shocked me a little bit.
Yeah. I recently a few weeks ago I met a gentleman from Brazil. He's in the United States, but he got a job. He worked with a company in Brazil, so he traveled back and forth between Brazil and here. And he understand the communism, understand the story of Cambodia, and he encouraged me to say, Sarah, keep telling your story because the young people did not see it, did not understand, especially some school, the young student. They think communism is great. So he encouraged me, pushed me to keep telling my story. So that's why I'm not afraid to come out and tell people the truth.
So throughout all of this, I'd like to ask you maybe like one or two more questions, specifically regarding your faith, and also, and one random question I have is, did your dad die earlier on, before all of this took place, or was he also involved with coming to America and everything?
No, he was supposed to come along with my mom, but my dad and my mom are not always get along.
Oh, okay.
So as my mom depart from Cambodia, my dad's supposed to come, but he back out. He went back home. He's still alive.
Oh,
My
wow.
dad still in Cambodia. He's in bad shape now. He's in his 90s. That he's still alive.
Do you go back to see him sometimes?
I only went by to see him once, but we talked on a video call. Yeah.
And so you don't visit Cambodia very often then?
Unfortunately, no.
You'd like to?
I want to go more often, but it's very costly. and it's no business for me to go.
Yeah. Your faith, how did you see yourself growing throughout all of this? And also, what do you do now to encourage people? I mean, you share your testimony, but I know that you're involved in some other things, so I'd like for you to share about that as well.
My faith, start with your first question, my faith. My faith grew when I was in Cambodia. I know that there's God that is so big, and that Almighty God. I have no point of reference, but for some reason I believe that there is God that watch over us and protect the innocent people. So that's my faith before I got here. But when I arrived, I got help from a group of Christian, a group of Christian church in Connecticut. They formed together, and they have the service to support a new refugee that coming to the United States. And I received such a marvelous, loving kindness and support from those group of people. So my faith started growing. And eventually I learned about how God had planned for each one of our life. And I learned about Jesus, and how that gradually I become a born again Christian. And I have been a Christian for over 30 years, over 35 years now. And I'm really, I feel that my faith is getting stronger, and I believe that my life was saved because God loved me. He protected me and He saved me, and He direct my path. That's why I didn't get lost in the jungle. So it's wonderful to have God protection, to have that kind of faith that you believe that God is protecting you. He's loving you and guiding you through your life. So that's my faith. And what I do now, I'm a speaker. I like to speak, to share my story and some tips. My speaking, I focus on sharing the true story about my life a little bit, to give them a glimpse of what I gone through, and the tip how to recover from a devastation in a life. Everybody lose something. Everybody have pain and hurt and suffering. How do we recover from the pain and suffering and move on with life with hope and inspiration? It all comes from the mindset, come from the attitude and the perspective, how you see things, and how you manage to keep your mindset strong and healthy and positive.
Yeah, and you're definitely the best person to share about that, since I think a lot of people I hear a lot of people when they go through struggles, they say, I don't really believe in God anymore, or my faith is shaken. And like you, on the other hand, you're saying your faith got stronger throughout all of this, and you're sharing your testimony and encouraging people to have their faith become stronger through struggles, because God is always there.
Yeah. Yes. If I don't have God with me, depend on my ability alone, I will not make it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on this episode and sharing your story, because I think it needs to be shared a lot more, just for the various reasons that you talked about, the faith aspect and how God is always there through struggles, and even the dangers of communism, I think should also be shared as well. So I really appreciate you, Sarah. Thank you so much for doing this twice with me now.
Thank you for reaching out to me, and we be honest that you didn't got to do anything with my first recording. That's okay. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you come out and be honest about it.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for understanding and doing it again with me. I appreciate that.
Thank you for reaching out.
All right, Sarah. I'll see you next time. Hey friends, learn more about my guest Sara Im at saraim.com, where you can learn about more things that she does, including the speaking events that she hosts. And also you can get a copy of her book on her website, which is called How I Survived the Killing Fields, a story of hope, love, and determination.